Alright, and welcome to the Ultimate Guide to Angles Level 2. Now in this one what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the idea of vertical angles and we're just going to make them slightly more complex. So let's go ahead and just kind of briefly review what is a vertical angle. Well, if I have two lines that cross as such, the angles that are opposite from each other are going to be what we call vertical angles. And we also know that vertical angles are congruent. Okay, so how does this problem get a little bit trickier? You know what, let me kind of color code this with an orange line here and an orange line here. So if I take this line and I really highlight it with that orange, and I take this line and I really highlight it with that orange, I know that this total over here must be congruent or equal to that total over there. Now this total over on the left is actually divided into two parts. Let's call this part 1 and let's call part 2. And this total on the right, even though it has the line going through it, this 14x minus 12 represents the entire total. Or the way that I describe it is the whole angle. Okay, so what is the rule that we have in geometry? Well, according to our angle addition postulate, we know that we have part 1 plus part 2 is equal to the whole. Okay, so let's go ahead and set that up. What is part 1? Well, it's 38 degrees. What is part 2? It is 4x plus 8. Okay, 4x plus 8. And of course, 4x plus 8, this is equal to the whole, which is this 14x minus 12. Now from here, we're just going to do our, some simple algebra, and let's get to it. On the left-hand side, I ask myself, can I simplify the left-hand side? And of course, 38 and 8 can be combined. So we have 4x and 38 plus 8 will give us 46 degrees. And this is equal to 14x minus 12. Now from here, I have x's and constants on both sides, and you always want to ask yourself, which one should I move first, the variable x or the constant? And I find it's much easier when you move your x first. So let's move our smaller x, minus 4x, and of course now we have 46 is equal to 14x minus 4, which would be 10x minus 12. Continuing on, we know that to get rid of our subtraction, we will do plus 12 and plus 12, and 46 plus 12 will give us 58. And so 58 plus 58 equals 10x. How in the world do you get rid of the 10? Well, we have to divide. And hopefully you know this, but any number divided by 10, you just take wherever the decimal point is and move it one space to the left. So 58 divided by 10, well, x must equal 5.8. Now, we recently had a test, and a lot of students really missed this because you solved for x correctly. However, you didn't apply it to the answer. So what is the question asking us for? It says find the measure of angle DGB. Let's see, D to G to B. We're actually asked to find the whole thing on the right. So we want to take this 14x minus 12, and we want to apply our x value of 5.8. And now from here, this is our angle, let's call it DGB. Let's just label it DGB. And we'll do 14 times 5.8. I would suggest getting a calculator because that's a little bit tricky. 14 times 5.8 will give you 81.2 minus 12, which will give us 69.2 degrees. And this is the measure of angle DGB. Okay? Alright, let's go ahead and I'd like for you to finish taking your notes, pause the video, let's move on to our next example. Okay, here we're going to go over problem number 4 from the assignment, and it says solve for the measure of angle DGF given the angle AGD is equal to 3x plus 30. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see from students is they don't label things properly. Whenever you have a diagram and you have an expression, you need to go to that diagram and label it. So AGD. So I see that AGD, let's see here, so from A to G to D, that's going to be this angle right there. And we're going to call that 3x plus 30. And then AGE is 10x plus 50. So let's see, AGE, which is this right here, is going to be that 10x plus 50. And it looks like these really won't align in reality with what this structure would look like, but that's okay, all right? and then F, because remember, you can't ever go with looks like. And then it says FGC is 15x plus 30. Let's see, where's FGC? So I'll go from F to G to C. Okay. And I'm going to put these 3 angle markings to note we'll go in that whole angle. And we have 15x plus 30. Okay, so let's kind of take a look at this. One thing I want to highlight is for that whole angle, I kind of see it's formed by that side and it's formed by that side, but let's extend it. So it's formed by that side and it's formed by that side. And hopefully, once we do that, you can kind of see that those 2 orange angles are actually vertical angles against the blue angle. So once again, we have our part 1, our part 2, and our whole. And you cannot see that until you've actually labeled it. The last thing I would encourage you to do, and I didn't do this last time, my mistake, is let's actually ask, what is the question asking for at the beginning? It says solve for the measure of angle DGF. And I noticed that D to G to F is actually one of these angles that's completely not included. So we're looking for that angle. So this could be a potentially tricky problem. Okay, so let's take our 10x plus 50, part 1, plus our 3x plus 30, our part 2, and let's set that equal to the 15x plus 30. Okay, and on the left, I ask myself, hey, can I simplify the left-hand side? And I can. I know that 10x can combine with 3x, which would be 13x, and 50 plus 30 is, of course, 80, and this will equal 15x plus 30. Now, once again, I have variables and constants on the left and on the right. So which one do I want to get rid of first, the variable or the constant? And so let's go ahead and get rid of our variable first. Minus 13x, minus 13x. Oh, sorry, y'all. Let me go ahead and put my cell phone on silent. And now we have 80 is equal to 15 minus 13, which is 2x plus 30. And from here, you know how to do this. What do we get rid of first? Our multiplication or our addition? Well, let's get rid of our addition, and we can do minus 30 and minus 30. And 80 minus 30 is 50, which equals 2x. And how can we get rid of the 2? Well, we can divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals 25. Now note, we are not done, because we actually, we went to apply this x, but we even have a more difficult problem here. Notice that both of these red angles are my vertical angles, and we don't have any sort of expression to figure out how big those angles are. So this is what I would encourage you to do. If you look at this total angle, the 15x plus 30, and then we extend this red line like this, what you'll notice is that that 15x plus 30 and this angle right here form a straight line. And we know that any 2 angles on a straight line must add up to 180. So here's what we'll do. We'll take that blue angle, the total angle from the vertical, and we'll write 5x plus 30. And we're going to plug in our orange angle, that 25. Let's see here. 5 times 25 is 125 plus 30. And 125 plus 30 is going to be 155 degrees. So this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that this whole angle right here is 155 degrees. And so if that whole angle is 155 degrees, all I have to do is subtract that from 180, and that will actually give me this missing angle right here, and 180 minus 55 is weirdly 25 degrees. So it's not often that your x value will equal your actual answer, but hey, that's pretty strange. All right, I will catch y'all in our next video series.